Welcome back, focused learners. We are jumping right back into the explainer today, and let me tell you, things are getting intense. We're stepping straight into the deep, haunted shadows of the Igbo Law Forest to unpack Chapter 4 of the epic African fantasy, Akanbi, Child of Destiny.
Okay, let's dive into this, because the chapter opens with a really chilling Yoruba proverb. Quote, "The eye sees the thunderstorm, the spirit believes in the calm." And wow, does that perfectly set the atmospheric tone for what we're looking at today. It's this fundamental clash between the physical reality, the stuff we can actually see and touch, and the spiritual truth that absolutely demands our respect. Right off the bat, we see that Abakambi is definitely not the arrogant kid who carelessly charged through the woods anymore. The text actually describes his shoulder as a topography of raised scars. So every single time he moves, it's literally a constant somatic whisper against his skin. It's a brutal reminder, giving him this hard-won humility. He's finally watching the forest, reading its silences like a student who's just desperate to survive. But he isn't surviving alone, right? He's traveling with Akanda, and their dynamic is fascinating. It embodies this sacred Ifa concept of the dancer and the drummer. Basically, it's this seamless, interdependent partnership. Akanbi acts as the physical bulwark against the shadows, while Akanda, she's the spiritual early warning system for any hidden threats. Together, they form this totally symbiotic rhythm of survival. Let's move to and see how this builds. As they push forward, the oppressive canopy finally parts, the air gets crisp and mineral-scented, and the environment completely shifts. They arrive at the River of Spears. The text paints this incredible picture of a churning, furious beast of liquid earth. It's crashing with this terrifying, indifferent power against jagged obsidian rocks, almost like the shattered fangs of some submerged leviathan. Emerging onto the muddy banks, our duo stumbles onto a deeply unsettling scene. Honestly, it reads almost like a tragic crime scene perfectly frozen in time. Washed up right there among the rocks are the drowned relics of what looks like a shattered nobleman's canoe. Scattered all around are these heartbreaking artifacts. There's a finely carved oak staff with ancient Iliophaea patterns, a ruined woven reed basket, a child's gourd rattle, and this mysterious, tightly cinched leather pouch. And what's crazy is, despite the roaring of the furious river right next to them, the silence hanging over these objects is heavy. It's unnatural and completely suffocating. So the crucial point is, to really understand what happens next, we've got to look at the rules of Yoruba cosmology at play here. A violent, unnatural death, which is known as iku, creates a profound, lingering wound. The emi, or the spirit, essentially becomes trapped. It gets bound to the earthly objects that are left behind. So while Akanbi is just looking at this wreckage in silence, Akanda is absolutely paralyzed by terror, because she can actually hear the deafening screams of those trapped souls. And this brilliantly illustrates a direct collision of perspectives. You've got Akanbi, who is completely blinded by utilitarian survivalism. To him, he just sees a sturdy oak weapon, practical supplies, tangible wealth to keep them alive. But Akanda's deep spiritual awareness reveals the actual truth. She sees trapped spirits, a cursed warning, chains forged from pure despair. Where he just sees wood and leather, she literally sees the embodiment of grief. But Akambi's hard-won humility totally fails him here. The allure of that tangible world is just way too strong. He reaches down for the staff, completely ignoring the fact that it feels unnaturally, deathly cold to the touch. And then he opens that leather pouch. Inside, he finds hundreds of cowrie shells. Now, in this world, that is a king's ransom that represents safety, food, a guaranteed future. So, overcome by this desperate, honestly foolish sense of triumph, Akambi gives in to temptation. He completely dismisses the spiritual reality staring him right in the face. Akanda is, as you can imagine, horrified. The exact moment he touches those items, this biting spectral wind suddenly sweeps through the clearing. The child's discarded rattle actually starts trembling on its own. She screams this desperate plea at him, "You have awakened them. Put it back before the veil is torn." But Akanbi, driven by sheer arrogant refusal and that intoxicating promise of wealth, he just ignores her. He ties that freezing leather pouch to his belt, tucks the heavy oak staff under his arm, and literally marches them right away from the river, straight back into the dark forest with the stolen goods. Now picture this. You're sitting around a dying campfire in the pitch black of the haunted forest. The nighttime haunting escalates with terrifying step-by-step precision. Hour 1, this unnatural, mournful wind starts passing through the camp. Hour 2, spectral, agonizing voices of the drowned begin to emerge from the dark. By hour 3, that stolen staff actually starts glowing with a sickly green light. And finally, hour 4 hits, and that leather pouch becomes a literal paralyzing block of ice, sending these terrifying chills straight into Akanbi's bones. Those voices then coalesce into this multi-layered, horrifying chorus of the drowned family. And they aren't just making noise, they are demanding their stolen relics back. Cutting through that freezing wind, Akanbi hears a woman weeping for her baby, a man choking on dark river water, and then this unified, freezing hiss. Thief, give back what is ours. Give back our peace. And on top of that, Akanbi is assaulted by these fragmented, horrifying visions of their final moments. The canoe splintering, wide, terrified eyes sinking into the muddy murk. The supernatural terror is just too much, and it finally completely breaks him. Akanbi frantically rips the frozen pouch from his belt, snatches up that glowing staff, and just blindly crashes through the dark undergrowth. He is desperately sprinting back to the churning river of spears, and the second he gets there, he hurls those cursed items with every single ounce of his strength right back into the rushing water. And the exact moment that staff hits the water, the storm stops. The wind doesn't just fade away either, it ceases abruptly. Like a heavy door was just slammed shut on this realm of sorrow. The horrifying visions completely vanish. All that's left is the natural, indifferent roar of the river. But for Akanbi, who is left standing there trembling in the mud, the profound silence that follows is absolutely deafening. It's incredibly heavy, crushing him with the weight of his own foolishness, his near-fatal arrogance, and just this humiliating realization that he had completely disregarded the rules of the unseen world. So, when a thoroughly defeated Akanbi finally trudges back to camp, Akanda doesn't even yell. Honestly, her silence is worse. It's the heavy silence of profound disappointment. But she does offer this deeply weary, beautifully profound philosophical realization. She tells him some treasures are not meant to be possessed. They are meant to be left as sacred markers, as warnings. It's such a powerful point. Not all physical things, not every glittering prize we stumble across are actually meant for us to take. Some things just belong to the past, or to the earth, or simply to the grief of others. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it breaks down the core Yoruba cosmological lesson regarding arrogance and humility. Let's look at this. Number 1, true wisdom isn't about conquering everything you can physically see. It's about having deep reverence for the invisible. Number 2, we absolutely must heed the unsettling whispers of the unseen world. And number 3, we really need to understand that some treasures exist solely to impart a lesson rather than to just fill our pockets. Akanbi had to learn this lesson through sheer, unadulterated terror, barely surviving a spectral storm, all because he valued a physical prize over spiritual truth. But what about us? I mean, sure, we might not be dodging haunted staffs in the Igbonla forest, but the core mythic lesson totally applies. So I want to leave you with this final, lingering thought to take away from this explainer. In your own pursuit of tangible, glittering success, what quiet, unsettling whispers of wisdom are you ignoring? Really think on that. Thanks for exploring with us today on The Explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.